All right, so we're going to get into the shame thing. And first, I want to appreciate it. So I want to invite you to appreciate the fact that this shame operation has actually been trying to help you out. So what exactly do I mean by that? Because I understand that's counterintuitive. You know, we have this voice, this sensations accompanied with shame, this like inner berating that goes on, and why on earth would we want to appreciate that? So what we resist persists, first of all. As cliche as that is, it's true. What we rail against or fight against or resist just keeps trying to get our attention. So we're going to give it our attention. And a way to even appreciate it is to consider that humans are a social species. It's in our DNA, it's in our blueprint to be tribal, because that's how we survived for so much longer than we haven't. So it's very hardwired in us to have a sense of belonging to a group of people, to your family, to your friends, to your culture. And oftentimes, that the shaming that goes on is our survival strategy to keep us in the tribe. You know, if we were kicked out of the tribe back in the day, then it could mean the difference between life and death. I mean, you could easily die without your people, you know, without your interdependent unit. So there's that aspect of it, that it's a survival mechanism to try to keep us in line, to keep us likable, to keep us connected, to do what we have to do to achieve that belonging. And that can really wreak some havoc, huh? So that's why we're here. We want to ease up that survival mode, let our bodies know that we're safe, that we accept ourselves. When we accept ourselves, it's really much more easy to be accepted by others, and move out of this survival, fight, flight, freeze, appease, dissociate mechanism into a more relaxed way of being that's more relevant to who we are today. And we just get so hardwired, you know, the voices that we hear growing up, the words that are spoken to us, the messages that we receive from our institutions and our culture, our schools, our friends, they create our inner voice. So that really gets just emblazoned over time, and we believe it. I mean, we've grown up with it. And so we're going to always in EFT start with acknowledging what's there as is without trying to change it. So we'll take a look at one aspect. We're going to just start with one aspect. There could be a lot of different shame narratives going on, but we're going to work with one at a time. And we're going to take a look at what that is, what it tells us, or how it makes us feel, and see if we can even muster up a shred of appreciation for what it's trying to do, how it may be trying to keep us alive, keep us acceptable, right? And we're going to accept ourselves, even though we have this shaming voice, this inner saboteur. And then we're going to also look at how it impacts our body, where in our body this is most hardwired, and what the emotion or emotions may be beneath or as a result of all of this inner shaming. So, yeah, fun stuff, right? I commend you for being here and the brave work that we're about to do. And on that note, I want to give you a resource in case this brings up any old trauma that you might need to reel yourself in from, okay? So if you start getting overwhelmed, here's something you can do. So let's put the hands right in front of your belly. I'm a little bit too low for this for you to see, but you're just going to relax your hands around here. And you're going to inhale, and the hands go out. And when you exhale, the hands go in. That's it. And you're going to watch your hands, inhaling, exhaling. Keep going. Inhaling, exhaling. So you can dictate how much the breath comes in by how far out you take your hands, and the pace and the volume of the out breath with how much the hands go in. So you can kind of control the breath with the hands. And always take a nice slow, long exhale if you're feeling activated in a trauma response, if you're triggered. That longer, slow exhale will signal to your survival brain that everything's okay, that you're not trying to get away from a dangerous situation. And this can be really useful because when a trauma has occurred, we're out of control in that moment. And then that trauma gets lodged into our bodies to be processed at a later date when we have the resources within us or the support to unpack that. So this puts some control back in literally in your hands. If you're feeling that old lack of control coming up. Okay, so let's do a couple more inhaling out and exhaling back in. Deepest breath of the day. And back in. All right, hands down. And we'll go into a meditation just to gather some intel here, see what we want to work with. So close your eyes. Let your body relax. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel your butt in the seat or the cushion, wherever you're sitting. If you've got back support, feel your back relaxing back into the chair. And this is another thing that you can do when you're feeling triggered, is to notice your contact points beneath you. Notice the stable foundation holding you. Sending the survival brain messages that you are not running, you're not trying to fight or flee, you're chilling. Bringing your attention back into your belly, your hara, and feeling yourself becoming centered around this place, your physical center, your center of gravity. So when you consider the shame that you carry around in this life, choose one. It doesn't necessarily need to be the most loaded one, since you are tackling this alone through a video. You know, if it's something, you want to choose something that's manageable. And let's notice the contours of that. Is there a phrase? Is there a feeling? Is there a physical sensation? Is there a contraction? What does that contraction feel like? Where in your body does this shame reside primarily? Where in your body is impacted by this shame train? And how intense is this for you on a scale from 0 to 10? When you consider that this is part of your makeup, part of your maybe day-to-day reality, the inner monologue that goes on, how much does that suck? 0 to 10. So 0 is, this might be obvious, but 0 is like, nah, nothing. You wouldn't even be on this video. 10 is like totally debilitating, overwhelming. You can't even have this around another minute. It needs to go now. All right. And let's take a deep breath. Thank your body for sharing this information with you, for communicating with you. And we'll open the eyes. Okay. Let's get into the tapping. So starting here, you can tap like that, or these two can come together. And remember, you can always do these lung points in place of this point here for the setup statement. All kinds of options. The rest is more straightforward. So if you've got lung stuff going on, this is a good one to do. I tend to start here. Okay. Repeating after me and switching out any wording that you need to, as always. Especially if you're able to get more specific than I'm being. Do that. Even though I have this shame, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I run this shame program, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I'm hardwired for shame, I deeply love and completely accept myself. Okay, and now we're gonna just use the reminder phrase, which in my example is shame. You might want to actually say the critique, and we're just working with one at a time. So any specifics you want to use here, do it. Shame. So we're tapping on the points, just saying the thing, saying the trigger. Shame. And you're feeling into it. You don't even need to say it if you're really dialed into it. The saying it is just to keep you anchored in it, because you really want to be opening this up. You want to be opening up the neural network around this topic. that makes it more malleable, makes those neural highways that we've carved out more easy to shift. Shame. Anchoring into where you feel it, breathing into it, feeling it. This shame shit. This shame. The feeling of it. The voice of it. The reaction, right? How much do we overcompensate when we feel shamed to try to fix it? All of that. It's exhausting, huh? This exhausting shame. Even though I have this tendency, I deeply love and completely accept myself. Shame. So we're just doing it again. Round 2 here. This shame. Coming through the points. 5 to 7 taps on each point. It's okay if you do more or less. If you mess up the order, no problem. Just stay with the emotion of it. Stay with it, and always, as you feel moved, throwing in the love and acceptance. Whatever version of that you want, even if you're just saying, I accept myself, that's perfectly fine. Many practitioners just use that, and they don't even say the deeply love and completely accept. I like to go full throttle. I'm also using a lot more points than most people use. So this stuff works, and it's not a rigid formula. It's just speaking to it, feeling it, and accepting yourself despite it. Even though I have this shame wiring, even though I shame myself so much, way too much, I deeply love and completely accept myself. Take a deep breath and exhale. Put your hands down. Notice your energy. Notice that place in your body that is impacted by this shame program. And notice the number 0 to 10. Where is it at? All right. If that number is kicked up, you're going to want to do some more rounds. And it's okay if it's higher than it was, because you're really unearthing a lot of deep stuff here. So it's beautiful. It needs to be done. Do more rounds. And also consider if you may have a psychological reversal going on. So that would mean that you are subconsciously reluctant to let go of this shame pattern because it's keeping you alive somehow. It's keeping you in the tribe, all subconsciously. And your survival mechanisms might be gripping onto that. So if that's the case, then you would just want to speak to that in your phrasing. Even though I'm holding on to this shame because I'm afraid that my family isn't going to accept me, I deeply love and accept myself. Something like that, okay? And you can also use the 9 gamut. So you would do a 9-gamut sandwich, and you can find how to do that on my 9-gamut video. So those are all ways to work with if it's very kicked up and not going down. Assuming it has gone down, we are going to move forward into the next phase. So that would be acknowledging the shift. So repeating after me. Even though I still have some shame, I deeply love and completely accept myself. So recognizing that that some has gone away. Okay, some of the charge around this issue has been neutralized. And speaking to that. And reminder phrase as you come through the points, which when we're doing this phase of it, you want to start it out with something like remaining. Again, acknowledging that there's been a shift, there's been a little bit of neutralization. So remaining shame. Tapping on the remaining shame. And tapping on your inner child. Tapping right on his or her points for the stress reduction that this brings. So you're delivering this right to the younger version of yourself when this pattern was initiated. And receive that. Receive that deep into your old nervous system, into your younger self. Remaining shame. Even though I still have some of this shame, I deeply love and completely accept myself. And feel free to pause the video and do more rounds like that. Otherwise, pause and breathe and check in with your SUDS rating, the 0 to 10. Where is it at? How charged is it? How intense of a problem does this feel like it is right now? Do you still feel helpless to the shame programming? All right. And assuming that the number has gone down again, otherwise do some more of these rounds. We'll introduce some choice statements. So this is really just to be used when you have already fully acknowledged what is the reality within your body, what the programming is, without trying to fix it. We're going to go into some of the doctoring now, but only because we have accepted ourselves completely with this programming, with the shame. And that just alone, without what we're about to do, can be enough to neutralize it. That awareness, that acknowledgement, that appreciation can work wonders, can rewire the neural network for the specific aspect that you're working with. And we'll do some choice statements anyway, okay? So if this is to be used if the number is down between a 0 and a 1 or a 2. All right. I choose to receive the input without my typical shame response kicking in. So what I mean by that is it's not like we want to become narcissists and think that we're hot shit all the time and that we don't need to, be held accountable, because shame can really, the whole thing can be a useful maneuver, right? It's bringing our awareness to something that can help us to be more refined. So we can still welcome that input, that awareness of what we can change, how we can grow without the shit show. So I choose the awareness without the aftermath shame party from hell. I choose awareness coupled with unconditional self-love. I choose freedom from this harsh inner critic. I choose to evolve without the shame. I choose confidence. I choose to believe in myself. I choose to know who I am and to come from my heart and to stop dissecting everything, analyzing everything with my head. I choose to stop micromanaging. I choose trust in my intentions. I choose to trust where I'm coming from, and I choose to trust that other people can tell my intentions. I choose to believe in myself. I choose to trust my intentions. I choose for my intentions to show through what I say. And it's true that we communicate so much more from the tone and the body language than from the actual words. Like, that's what people are picking up on so much more of. So it's really true. If that's part of the shame contraction, is like going back over things that you've said, wondering if you were misunderstood, I choose to trust in my intentions being communicated. I choose not to overanalyze what people say and what I say. I choose to stay centered in myself. I choose to keep anchoring my center back into myself and not into what other people think of me or what I think they think of me. I choose to be my own ally. I choose to align with my truth. I choose to be free of this pattern and to develop healthy, new neural wiring, new pathways that support my truth and what I'm here to do in this world. I choose an inner voice that supports me. Put your hands down. Take a deep breath. And long, slow exhale. All right. Notice the number 0 to 10. When you consider this shame construct, how intense is it now? And bring your hands together over your heart. Bow your head to yourself for doing this courageous work, this honest deep dive. And I thank you and I honor you for showing up in this way. Namaste.